I happen to think that the local council has more impact on people's daily lives than the national government does. After all, we're the only people that come around every week collecting your bins and sorting out things like that, so it's crucial.
I think the reason I got involved in politics in the first place was that as a parent I was aware that there was a lack of provision for young people, not only in my area but really broadly across the town where I lived. So I wanted to get involved in trying to stir things up, and I got involved in some earlier campaigns and really enjoyed it. And so when I was presented with the opportunity to become a councillor, it seemed like a good idea.
There'd just been an election and a lady came in my office where I worked and said, we were talking about council, and I said, what do you do? How did you get there? And she said, you need to be a councillor. She said, there aren't enough ladies on council. She said, you need to get yourself out there and get elected.
I was one of those rare people possibly who was wanting to become involved in local politics right from a teenager. I had an interest in politics at school, but 1995 was the first time that my particular life was stable enough with a regular job, with wife, house that I was going to stay in for a long time, that I felt I was able to get involved in it.
There's a whole range of qualities that councillors need, from being conscientious, being able to listen, to being proactive and being able to see problems in your community and act on them yourself.
Dedication to want to give something back to your community.
Well, as councillors we need people who really are a reflection of society as a whole. Ordinary people. You don't have to be special to be a councillor. You just need to be an ordinary person who leads an ordinary life and experiences the same things that everybody else does, because that's the sort of representation we want in the council decision-making process.
And I think you could say the one thing that describes all of the councillors that I've known is they're all regular people. They've all got their feet very well planted on the ground. No particular chips or bits that shouldn't be there. So regular people who've got an ability to listen and not just to talk. I knew that there were rules involved about elections, but to be perfectly frank, I didn't know what they were. That was one of the beauties to me of being involved with a political party, because each political party will have its own agents who will know what the rules are. They can demystify the process and explain it to you in simple terms, and tell you how not to fall foul of those rules.
The laws governing elections and voting and registration are quite complicated, and it's much easier if a candidate has an agent who handles all that side of things. For example, making sure that the nomination is done correctly, making sure that the candidate is qualified to stand, and also to look after the costs and expenses. And then they also need a campaign manager, somebody who's going to motivate them on those wet evenings to get out and go and visit people, to canvass for their vote, to look after the delivery of material, election address, leaflets, those kind of things, and generally to be their support.
When I first got elected and first went into the council chamber, it can be nerve-wracking to do your first speech in front of the hall, but once you get it out of the way, it's fine, and people make you feel very relaxed. Everyone's understanding, roaring through it.
I don't think I was felt daunted at the first meeting. I think I was excited, and like anybody sensibly would, you bide your time before you open your mouth. But once you get a bit of confidence, it becomes somewhat addictive.
I don't think it's difficult to be a councillor. I think the main thing, as I say, is that you're an ordinary person, understands the needs and wishes of your community. Of course, you have to go to meetings, so there's a time commitment involved, and of course you have to deal with people's concerns, residents' concerns, and you have to be willing to chat to them on the phone, or write them a letter, or drop them an email if you've got that sort of facility.
Councillors take on casework. And casework can involve anything from housing situations to getting sort of roads mended, perhaps problems with fly tipping, things like that. So getting those issues resolved for local people, individual local people, is good.
If you're thinking of becoming a councillor, There's certain they expect from yourselves to use your free time, because it's unrewarding in money wise, because it's you do it for the love of becoming a councillor.
For those thinking that the evenings are going to be sitting in council meetings, you can't go down to the pub or up to London, or if you're very young, to the discos. It's entirely up to you how much time you give up.
I think you can balance your social life with your committee responsibilities. It's a question of planning ahead, really.
Some friends have asked me, what's it like being a councillor, and I've been very intrigued by what councillors do. There's a bit of a myth as to what it is we do all day. When we explain that, and they realise how they can make a difference in their community's life and in their neighbours' lives, and realise what a positive effect you can have, people have seemed very keen to take more interest in it.
We need new blood on the council. I would recommend to ladies, if you can find the time, do join, do try, because it is very important that we still have ladies on council giving their view.
If anybody wanted to stand, any friends of mine, absolutely, they would love to stand. I think they would be brilliant. It's a wonderful opportunity to serve your local community, because, you know, if you don't, a lot of people just sit around saying, oh, I don't like this, nothing's being done. But if you don't get in there and do it, you can't complain.
I think that there are things that one can do on the district council that bring about an immediate change to people's lives, such as helping them get housed, for instance, and that makes it very worthwhile. And I think for that reason, I would say to a friend, yeah, sure, get involved.
Thoroughly recommend it. I think the personal rewards are outstanding. I admit the financial rewards are not so great, but I also think that's the right way too. So if you really want to get great satisfaction and be a real part of your community, being a councillor is just a great way to do it.
I think it's a great privilege to be a councillor. It's important to listen to what local people say, and it personally gives me a buzz to get results for my local community. And when you meet people on the doorstep who say, you know, thanks for standing up for us and you're doing the right thing, which, you know, you don't get a great deal of thanks, but when you do, it makes it all worth it.
It's seeing something in the district that needs doing or needs dealing with, having the knowledge how to deal with it and being able to get it then done. So it's seeing it, dealing with it and seeing the result. It's very, very fulfilling, and I can't stress that enough, really fulfilling.
I'd be in a councillor very much, because I've done it for a number of years now, and every time, every year, every election, I learn something new, and I'm still learning things.
It's always different. That's the thing about being councillor. The thing that makes it enjoyable, the thing that sustains one's interest is that there's no end of different challenges.
I've loved every moment I've been on the district council. It's been very rewarding, and I think that we're all quite popular in Liphook because I do try my best.
If you live somewhere you think you can do better, or you'd like to see things done better, now's your time to say, is to go to be voted in and have your say on the council.